Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Real Estate Uncensored. I want to tell you stunning stacks of awesomeness. I'm so glad that you guys are here with us. I have my brother Brad back. He's with Likely.ai. We're going to be talking about AI. We're going to go over the top three things: ChatGPT, Gemini, Gork. We're also going to talk about Meta. If you guys don't know what Meta is doing on the back end, you have to stay to the end. Brad is going to drop some serious knowledge bombs on what you can do with these programs and products that's going to extend your reach on a very big volume. So before we get to my stunning, awesome brother, which by the way, he actually is my brother by blood, I want to get Miss Alyssa Gletz, color my credit. What's up, girl? What you doing?
I heard you were adopted. He told me you were adopted before this.
Oh, well, shut the fuck up,
okay.
man.
Okay, I'm here. I was gonna say, you told me to do a funny something, and I was thinking I'm gonna wash that man right out of my. Anyway, that's where I'm at because every other day I feel like I'm washing the grays that this loan mortgage business is giving me out of my hair to color it another color. Anyway, that's my funny. That's all I got.
Dude, I'm actually thinking about doing the same thing with my hair. I'm like, I looked at myself in the shower the other day when I got out, and I'm like, oh my god, this business is really making me gray. Like
I would have been like, who just
gray.
broke into my house? Oh, that's me.
Who broke into
she's
my house
a
and turned me?
homeless. Okay.
It turned me psychotic. Anyways, let's talk about psychotic when it comes to a good way. My brother Brad, Mr. Brad McDaniel, the CEO of Likely.ai, master of all things AI. We're going to be talking about a lot of things here. So welcome, my friend. So glad to have you back.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. I always love talking with you and your peeps and the audience.
Well, because you're an incredibly good-looking man, that's why people like to have you back on the show. I mean, it's a very simple fact.
Hey, if it's not for the brain, take it for the Browns.
The two of you, it's like which one's the straight man is what I'm trying to figure out. Like one of you have got to be the funny and one the straight. I don't know though. I don't know.
Well,
I think Brad's straight. I think Brad's straight.
I am straight. Yes.
He has 3 kids, so that's verifiable. Let's break in right into the AI and stuff, because there's a lot of confusion that myself is confused consistently about this, because everyone talks about ChatGPT, but we don't know about a lot of the other products and programs that are out there and kind of what they're doing and how they can influence your business. So walk me down the path very quickly. What are the top 3 things top 3 programs you want to go over? And then let's walk down from the best to the worst in your point of view, and how real estate agents can implement all of these into their real estate business based upon their unique utilitarian opportunities. So, Brad, the floor is yours. Where would you like to start?
Well, I remember you interviewed a guy who was all about category king, and kind of whoever's there first kind of claims that crown, and that's that, right? And so that's clearly ChatGPT. It's why their market cap just popped to $87 billion. Like, they are category king. And that is what helped Microsoft, market cap spike, what's enabling Copilot, all those awesome things. So like, they have a UI you can interact with, but there's also an API that's starting to go beyond just an AI enablement, but starting to infuse it into everyday products that you used to. So that's number 1 because of that. Number 2, which initially was leading once the generative model started, which would be Google. Now, Google's confused on their branding here, right? It went from DeepMind, what it's been for years, and they were the leading guys and paying millions of dollars per engineer for a long time. Then it was Bard, then it was yada yada yada, like all these crazy names, and nothing stuck. And now they're going with Gemini, right? And Gemini Ultra 1, 2. So they're starting to get their act together. Now, what's interesting there is that kind of their ecosystem, it's kind of empowering everything to do with that we can get into a little bit more. The third one that I'm going to talk about today, some others would talk about one that AWS is doing deals with. I'm not going to talk about that today because I don't think it's as relevant to agents. Would be Twitter. I know agents love Twitter or X, and so Elon Musk has launched Grok, Grok, right?
Gork.
And You can only use it if you have the premium thing, which I did just because I wanted to see how good it was. They're spending $300 million plus to buy so many GPUs. And excuse me, that was awful. So many GPUs, that was not okay. So many GPUs, like trying to build up and trying to catch up. And he was one of the original investors into OpenAI and founders and all this stuff. Who knows if all that's true? But he'll say it. So, those are the three that I think are the most interesting that I've done more experimenting with, because I wanted to see kind of the nuances between. And then Meta AI is on their kind of they're doing the open model path where they're giving.
We're going to talk about Meta AI at the end of the show.
Yeah. And
so let's do a preview on that real quick.
What's your favorite, Brad?
Man, that's a great question. So before Gemini, my go-to is OpenAI, right? I think that they are far and away well ahead, because GPT-4 was 8 months ago research. They have not launched the next version. They just kind of did the text to video, which is amazing, by the way, kind of how good it is. So they are well ahead of the pack. They just haven't made everything public yet. And so I think
when you say OpenAI, not to interrupt, I'm sorry, but when you say OpenAI, is that not the same as ChatGPT?
Great question. They kind of went through an identity crisis as well, because they initially had all these different branded models. And what they're doing is putting them all into the chat interface. So now DALL-E 3, which generates images, is all inside of ChatGPT.
Right.
It's bringing it all together, right? Rather than having all these siloed models out, with one simple interface, you can access and interact. So multimodal, right? And that's what Google's going after as well. Everyone wants to be multimodal. It's just they're better in different places than others, which is why you kind of have to this is confusing as hell. Why am I spending all my time on this? Which one do I use? I got to get back to work, right? That's kind of how I feel most people are looking at this. And, I think where we are right now with the AI ecosystem is something that I think Winston Churchill said best during World War II, but I think it's perfectly rephrased for today, which is it's not the beginning of the end. It's not the end. It's not the beginning of the end, but perhaps it's the end of the beginning. Right. So I'll say it again. It's not the end. So we're not done. It's not the beginning of the end. We're almost done, but perhaps it is the end of the beginning, meaning that large language models have now kind of boom. Wow. That's awesome. We went through this really, really, really big hype cycle. Right now, people are realizing that it's kind of like a mid-level intern that can do stuff, but you have to have a really clear thought pattern in order to get the most out of them, get access to all the data and everything else. And so as that starts to happen, all these startups that were just using access to GPTs or whatever are starting to go down, right? Because all those features are now just being built with the large guys. So that's why you see Microsoft with partnership with OpenAI, ChatGPT, Copilot, all of these other spin-off products are now becoming dominant. While you have Google, which their search business was in jeopardy. This was an existential threat to them, right? And so you might start seeing that when you ask a question, the actual results are AI generated. They're not taking the sites anymore. They're just training off of all of your data and giving them the answer, which is what people want, right? I mean, think about that. That's what people want. If you search, hey, I've got a cough and a headache and my stomach hurts, it's going to take you to whatever disease has the best SEO. That's stupid. No, you want to have the answer of what could be wrong with me, right? So that's, I think, a big shift for what's happening with search. I kind of digress, but
it's getting more specific to you as it gets to know you.
Trying to just serve up the answers that you want, right? Shorten the time to value, I think is what everyone should. Reduce that friction, shorten the time to value, right? And so back to that, we're getting to this place now where, it's the end of the beginning, is that we're starting to see that there's a couple of winners, and they're the same winners that were before. They just have a lot more stuff, a lot more cool stuff, things that you can interact with,
Well, and I noticed recently, if you go into ChatGPT up in the corner now, you've got the ability to explore a lot of GPTs that have been created, and they have all kinds of different features. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. And so those are custom GPTs.
Yep.
And that's another reason why OpenAI or ChatGPT is my favorite.
Yeah.
Because they thought the store is going to be awesome, and all these creative people are going to build things that everyone else is going to want to use. And the net result is everyone else sucks at building these things, right? I mean, that's what it really was. There's tens of thousands of them in there. But the way I use that is I built GPTs for myself. And I use them that way because I have specific tasks that usually took me to remember all these different prompts and all this like stuff. And I can just create one, save it to myself, and then automate things that I have to do every day. Like maybe you record a video and then you want to have a YouTube short title and thumbnail and description, and you want a TikTok description and title and all these things that you have to write and think about and do a couple of. No, it's just done, right? So
wait. So let's go back for half a second. So chat is your go-to at this moment, right? Chat GTP. Is that right? Okay. So when it comes down to breaking everything down for a real estate agent, that's what we know as the go-to. Why is that more valuable than any other product out there in your mind? And we're going to walk through the other products, but I want to understand from your point of view. I'm sitting in the stands, right? I'm just kind of watching, learning, and listening. But like every other agent, why would you use that over Gemini or over Gork or over Copilot or anything like that? I mean, Copilot and I think Gork are the same.
Gork are the same, yeah.
Why would you use different ones? And is it complicated? Is it easy? Are there advantages? How would you navigate this as a layman? So 10,000 foot layman terms.
So I think there's two reasons for ChatGPT, which is OpenAI. Okay. I'm using those interchangeably, so sorry if there's confusion. With ChatGPT, you can do custom instructions, which is tell me a little bit about your brand, your voice, so how you like to talk, which is you can do for anybody.
Wait, pause there. The custom instructions he's talking about with the paid version of ChatGPT, on the top in the middle is the button for custom instructions, just for everybody to know. Once you go in there, you can tell Chad one time and one time only everything you want it to know about you. That's kind of where I plugged in all of this is the book I wrote, is what I'm all about. That way, every answer kind of comes back to that core of who you are. It kind of thinks about it from your point of view. And a lot of the answers I get are, well, because you're a credit education instructor, because your background in mortgage, this area would be perfect for you to explore. Like, it's coming from that place. So anyway, I just wanted to say that real quick.
Exactly. And when you want to put those in, people didn't know what to do initially. Now it's be broad, try to cover all your use cases. They limit the number of characters, but try to be broad about what you are and what you do and how you like to speak. And then it'll utilize that in all responses unless you turn it off. Right. So it's helpful.
So
number two,
let me wrap my head around this real quick. Jane Doe, Mike Doe, they walk in, they sign up for Chat GPT. They pay the $20 a month. They go into the upper middle section. They can then fill in. They have John Doe and Jane Doe real estate company in anywhere
Share my screen while you talk, dude. Share my screen while you talk. I'll show you while you talk.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to look at myself. But basically what can happen is that they can go in and they can just identify exactly who they are, what their thought patterns are, what their manifesto is in regards to business, so on and so forth. And then it will crush out content in regards to those parameters, correct?
Remember, it's a model.
Yeah.
So it's not like a if-then statement. This is giving it context for who you are. One is who you are. That's this top box. And the other one is, how do you like ChatGPT to respond? Basically, tone of voice. What do you talk about? What words do you use? So I talk about the products we offer, how I like to talk.
I love how in depth you go.
Complex.
Yeah.
Like be very straightforward. And to make it easy, you can actually have or help write these with ChatGPT. Be like, hey, this is who I am in a chat. Like, help me write the best instructions for how to respond. And then it'll write it. right? Then you tweak it and then off you go. So that's the first reason why, because you don't have to remind it who you are every single time. That was the big aha
That's
mid
big.
last year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, from the layman sitting here, I mean, I've always been a little intimidated by it because I don't know what to tell it. What if I say something wrong?
But here's
And
the
it-
thing, Greg, what Brad just said is the best thing about ChatGPT is you can have it help you instruct it. So you can say, I don't know what to say to you in the custom instructions. This can you ask me 10 questions that might help me prepare a better you know, whatever. What am I trying to say?
Prompt.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
just
So
asking it
the
for-
easiest way to think about that is tell it who you want it to impersonate. Hey, act like a CEO specialist, act like an SEO expert, act like a act like a mortgage consultant, and then task. Help me with understand how do I, whatever it is. Then you can go on, but lots of context and more and more. But like if you get that basic prompt structure, that's like you're 80% of the way there.
Greg,
okay.
let me give you another example. If you were to put in there that part of your real estate marketing is that you love dogs, okay? Then when you ask chat answers, like I'm trying to come up with 5 good blog ideas for this week, it's going to end up answering, well, because you love dogs, you know, here you go. And so
Oh.
like you remember, you don't even have to tell him that. He knows already I am a mom of 2 daughters. So when they answer, he kind of comes from a place, well, the fact is that you have 2 daughters, you're going to relate to a lot of mothers out there. I mean, that's the kind of answers I get.
Well,
So-
Brad does have 2 daughters, so that does work out well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if that's what you want to do, that's exactly it. Okay. I don't know. You showing me.
He's got all
Okay.
kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Well, you brought it up,
Well,
man.
What I
Now
was
that
going
you're
to
on the screen, yeah. Will you show us more?
number 2 here is
Yeah.
what you were talking about is these GPTs, right? And so these are ones that I use a lot. I built all of these for myself, right? So I want a hook master, I want a capture master, I want to do thumbnails, things that I have to do a lot, basically, right? And so one that I use.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hold up. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to bring you off this screen real quick. Are you telling me, and I'm being legitimately interested in this question, that you can create thumbnails with Chat GPT? Are you telling me that right now?
Yeah, it usually messes up the aspect ratio. Doesn't always get that right, which is supposed to be 16:9. Sometimes it goes off and never land. But
But it creates it for you. That's just one of the things it can do. Correct?
yeah,
You don't
let me
have to go
show
anywhere
you.
else.
We can have
You're
fun. I can
basically
walk you through
teaching
really
it
quickly and show you.
procedures, right? You're teaching it procedures. It's a procedural memory.
So there's a couple of things you walk through and you kind of give it instructions like a prompt that are kind of broad, but like this stay within these parameters. Then you can load knowledge docs. So if there's maybe someone that talks about how to build a thumbnail that gets best clicks, right, and is really detailed, grab that. A really great way to do that is on YouTube videos. You go to description. You can see the transcript. And then you can turn off the timestamp on the transcript and copy the whole transcript, drop it into a doc, upload it, and there you go. You store that whole video, right? And that talks about what you want it to learn. Okay. So you
Now,
do
did
that.
you hear that,
Fuck
Greg?
out of here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I thought everyone's doing this. So I guess I'm totally
No.
caught off guard.
That's why-
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I was saying before the show, I'm like, Brad's on this level, but and then there's some people that are coming in and they know kind of this language, but the benefits of you, I mean, I'm going to tell you, anybody out there who's just sitting there listening and kind of intimidated by the whole talk of this, if you don't have to pay for anything yet. If you just get Chat GPT and you download the app, it's very easy as far as just opening up, and it has a little area where you write in and no one's going to grade you on it. You know what I'm saying?
one's
You
gonna
can
grade
just
you on
say, how does this work? Can you give me an idea of what you do and what I'm capable of doing with you?
And
And
that's
it
a
goes,
really good example.
Yeah.
I think to kind of get used to it in like the first time experience is start talking with it about something you know well. So that way you can kind of gauge how much BS this thing has or not. So if
Yeah.
you feel like you're an expert on blah, 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 ask it about blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then watch how that'll open your mind into what you can do. So I can go deep into Chat GPT, right? But basically it's the custom instructions. and then the custom GPTs if you're inside of the Chat GPT experience. Okay. The underlying model there, right, which is Chat GPT 4, and they're going to have 5 and so forth, right? Also, they have Dolly 3, and now they just announced Sora, and they have all these other models. So you can do anything within one thing, are all being built into all these products around you, right? Like Copilot. So to try to simplify here without jumping to another product, okay? So it's all coming from one source. Thus, that's why they're category king, all right?
So they're category king. I mean, they generally take 80 to 90% of the market share. So the rest of the other companies are going to, go out for the scraps on a general basis. So talk to me a little bit about Gemini. I want to hear a little bit more about this. You kind of intrigued me about this program. Walk me through that and tell me the pros and cons versus that in Chat GPT.
For a while, I thought it was, they were trying to play catch up. Every time I went over and tried to use it, it was always repetitive. I can't do that. Oops. It tripped over itself all the time. With their recent release and rebranding from Bard to Gemini, it's become pretty good. And like, if you want to geek out, there's charts that say that it's actually better than GPT-4 in certain things. Let's not get into that, right? Like, if you think about it this way, come back up a notch. Is it's built by Google, branded as Gemini. So what things do you do with Google that you want to do better with? Maybe click-through rates on ads, better ad copy, engagement, YouTube engagement, SEO, like things that you do today that maybe you pay money for that you wish you got a better return on that investment. Use Gemini for those. Simple as that.
So what does this mean for ad creators, promoters, stuff like this? I mean, are we looking at an extinction possibility here for these different types of careers? Because if AI can do it for $20 a month, why the fuck am I going to pay somebody, $100,000 a year to do the same thing at a slower rate? I mean, how does that? What are you seeing as a factor in that in regards to the business realm?
I think it's been described as the time of abundance is soon to be upon us, which is where you don't have to do a lot of the stuff you don't want to do anymore, right? Because it'll be done for you. And so take that to an ad creator. It's going to write better. It's going to write better. It already does. It writes anywhere we get 30 to 50% higher click-through and engagement and reach.
But does it get tripped up with the AI language in the meta tags that, like, it says like, oh, this is AI created. It's not actually going to be a human writing this. There's no real personality behind it. It's just going to be a computer. How does that work? Is that a deficient thing, or
like it shadow bans it or something in some way?
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're still in that area where
you're not gonna.
Each company is going to have different policies, but if you're using, like I said, the model that's built by that company or conglomerate, Google, odds are they want you to pay for that, they're probably going to do better than their competitors.
So let me ask you a question. So when Facebook came out with Facebook Live, it was a huge thing. Like, everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is gonna be so amazing!" And Google and Facebook said, "Oh my God, okay, any early adopters will help promote you in the future." Which in reality today, 10 years, 5 years later, they're sitting there going like, "Yeah, go fuck yourself. We're just gonna kind of like dial you back if we don't like this, that, or another thing." No matter how much content you put out there, no matter how much you've helped us. Do you think that AI is going to go in that direction? Do you think they're sucking in data right now like a vacuum, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to help you down the road," but then they never help you down the road? Do you think it's going to be a factor or a non-factor?
So data privacy and whether or not you're contributing or not, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and then on the other side of that, like, is there an upside for somebody to use AI exclusively or almost exclusively for creation content, or why wouldn't you just continue to use your brain and just do it yourself like we've done for the last?
It just takes a little longer. I mean, it's really stuff that's more of not to take over, Brad, but like the I feel like it's not something that fully it can replace some jobs, but it really is more of a helper. You know, it's more of an assistant.
By the way, everybody, this is actually not Alyssa Glutz. This is the AI Alyssa
I'm AI.
Glutz.
Yes.
Yes, and she's joining us today from Microsoft. Thank you very much.
You know, I think the best way to think, or a good way to think about that, and it's been said, I've said it probably 1,000 times, which is, you know, you are now the editor, not the copywriter. So it generates the first version, you tweak it using your brain, and there you go. And the more these like custom, you know, instructions or whatnot, gets it even closer and less editing. One of my friends, he's a high-up lawyer at Boeing. His son's on my son's basketball team, and you know we're you know BSing on the court, you know, every night it seems like. And I was asking him, like, are you utilizing any of this? And he's like, you know, he wasn't when we first met. Now he is, because he's like, oh God, I can do all these things. And I asked him a couple of nights ago, what's his experience so far? And he's like, you know, I don't know how new lawyers are going to get into the business, because learning how to write briefs and all these things that it does really well, it gets about 80-90% of the way there, is how you learn to become a senior, right? And do different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I would never send this directly out, but I mean, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, I tweak it, I fine tune it, but then it's ready. So it's a force multiplier, an accelerator. It's a shortening the time to value. However your mind wraps around that, that's what AI is doing.
So let me ask you a question. One of the things I'm really not that I'm not good at it, I just don't like doing it. It's running comps on properties, because it's so laborious. Like you have to go back and research death to this date and this blah blah scrounge. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So do you think AI can do that already? Which I know the answer is yes. And do you think it could become better based upon learning models of other agents doing CMAs or property evaluations or appraisals? Can it learn from other data out there? So then you put in 123 Main Street anywhere USA, and it's like, oh, based upon all these different data points, this is the most likely price point for that. Do you see it coming that direction, or is it already here?
I'm gonna give you two pieces of that answer. Okay. So
I want the whole piece. I want the whole piece. Okay.
So first, I'm gonna talk about access to that type of data, right? And so AI has a data problem, right? And the real estate industry specifically has a data problem, because agents aren't like Coca-Cola or Tesla or these companies where have terabytes of data created all the time that they can train off of. There's maybe their CRM, MLS data feed, historical comps that deals they've done, but it's all stored in weird places and not accessible. So to answer your first part, is brokerages or teams have an opportunity to aggregate their data and just put it in one place. And then models can start to do a lot of that sifting and sorting and like conversion to get it to what they call a vectorized database. Basically, think of it this way, just to come back up. It's a way that models can ask it questions.
Okay.
Right? That's what that vectorized database is. And today it's not. So that's your first part, is can you learn off of other agents, and do you get that kind of network effect like cell phones, right? You can, but you have to be in a place where everyone's kind of doing that, right? And most brokerages and agents and teams aren't. So that's one. Before you ask another question, that's one, right?
Okay.
The second part is, can you do comps? Like if you one man show, husband wife team, and I hate running comps because it takes me 2 hours to build comps for whatever I'm doing, right? Investment property or whatnot. All of them are going to say they can, and then ask specific questions, and you're going to find that ChatGPT, even though it's better, April 2023, right? It's actually outdated. Gork with Twitter, it's trained off of Twitter data, tons of data, but not really real estate related. And always pulling things up and kind of repeat things. And so that brings me to Gemini, and why I like Gemini. Because what's Gemini built by? Google.
Yep.
Who indexes all the listing property sites pages out there? Google. So what's it trained on? Yeah. So you can use Gemini to ask those questions. Hey, this is my property. These are the specs of the property. Bring up 3 other homes like that have
no
sold.
Shit.
Gemini can access that.
Yeah.
So, and I've tried it.
Wait, hold on a second. my every time I talk to you, my fucking head explodes. So you're telling me, Gemini, I go in, I say 123 Anywhere USA Street. Show me 3 to 5 other comparable properties that have sold in the last 6 months, and it'll pull those up.
He's
Yes.
going to show you.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
And see, and it's about going to the right source. If you went to chat, you wouldn't have the right most up to date information. If you went
How many
to
square
Bork,
feet is the Alamo house, dude?
Huh?
How many square feet is mom and dad's house?
For 47, 5,000, somewhere in there.
I'm just to say 4,000.
So they're 5'5", 5'4", 5'5", half acre, west side.
4 or 5, so 4 bedrooms, 4 or 5.
Well, 2 masters, right? So old master, new master. That's 1. That's 1.
4 bedrooms. 4 bedrooms.
2, 3. That's 4. It's 4 or 5.
4 bed.
4 bedroom, 5 bath.
Mm-hmm. No. 5 bed, 4 bath. But that's the interesting point. I'm glad we're having this discussion right now, because a lot of folks with the data input, that really makes a distinguishing difference in regards to knowing kind of how that's going to pop back out. It goes back to our original conversation of what you put in, you get out. So a lot of us, when we put in stuff, we don't really consider like, oh my God, this is so just everybody knows it. No, that's the computer
share my
system
screen.
doesn't notice that.
Share my screen.
All right, so I'm going to share Brad's screen right now. So Brad, so the folks that are not
I just asked
watching us, what are we looking at?
I just asked, okay, show me 3 similar homes to 144 Iron Gate Court. 4,000 square feet,
cool.
5 beds, amazing backyard with the pool, and amazing pool and backyard. Right, that's what I asked. So it pulls up 3 comps. They said,
well, none of those are accurate in regards to comparable comps. I know these addresses. Stonebridge, not a chance. Stonebridge, not a chance. Blackhawk, not a chance. It's in Danville, different part. That's an 06, not an 07.
Oh, must be sold in the last 6 months.
Yeah, so you have to specify what it wants. We just said comps. So yeah, the geographic area and time frame are going to be different. Right. So you basically have to like tell it what you're looking for. It'll do, like we said, 80% of the job for you.
That's fascinating. Can you ask it? And I'm gonna pull this off so you can see us. Can you ask it like, okay, so I'm selling 144 Iron Gate Court, right? What is the best buyer for this property? Where would that come from? Because I know with Likely.ai, you guys have put together a model that you can come up with the best 3 zip codes with a buyer model built in behind it, which by the way, is stunningly freaking awesome, because you can type in an address, you're going on a listing appointment. So Alyssa, I'm going to list your house at 456 Maple in Arizona. And I show up to your house and say, Alyssa, so glad to sit down with you. Here are the best zip codes to market your property. Here is the best buyer profile. By the way, here are the best comps coming from Likely or from Gemini, going like, okay, these are the last comps in the area, and this is what they sold for, price per square foot, yada yada. You plug it in, and then you bring in like an RPR report, like a CMA or something along those lines. Now you're coming in with fire. Right? You're not the average dingleberry walking around going like, hey, I want to sell your house. No, you got real data behind it. And that's the fascinating part about this, because data is king. No longer cash is king. Data is king. If you know something, that's worth something. So your competitors aren't even trying to play around with this stuff, especially if you're working in an area with a lot of boomers. And I'm not talking shit about people that are up in their upper ears. My father, who I love and respect, he's my mentor. He's taught me everything in the real estate realm. He's a boomer, okay? But he's not going to bring this to a listing appointment. He's just not, because he'll walk in and just be Terry McDaniel, just do the Terry dance, and just sit there and wiggle and jiggle and have fun, and he'll get the fucking listing. It's insane to watch. He's like,
that's all relationship. That's all connected. Yeah.
But folks that are just getting started, having the knowledge about these different homes, studying your marketplace, understanding how the market is flowing, this is invaluable, because You can then go talk to local folks when you're door knocking, cold calling, video marketing, whatever else. But this data can literally be the difference between you and a paycheck. All you have to do is utilize this free content. And I want to jump into Gork really quickly. So,
Wait,
Brad,
show my screen for 1 second. Answer yours.
I
and
do
then
not
we're gonna
want to
move
show
on.
you my screen.
Yeah,
How dare you ask me that in
So you
public?
asked for a buyer.
Damn
You
it.
asked for a buyer persona, right? I wrote a
All
prompt.
right, you missed my joke. Okay,
I know. I got it.
thank you, Alyssa. At least
I
you
used
got
the
that.
end part of what I wrote on the last one, and then I just added at the top. Give me a detailed buyer persona, the most likely buyer for this property, and target marketing to get the buyer persona to want to buy this home, right?
Yep.
And so then it gives me the demographic
Me.
profile of who's probably going to buy it.
No.
Values,
Shit, that's actually accurate.
pain points, marketing strategies to get that persona to want to buy that property. And then then it gives me 3 similar properties that
Do you have to pay for this? Holy shit.
this is
This is
free.
Gemini. Yeah.
So this is why Gemini is starting to get an edge, is starting to surpass, starting to beat ChatGPT for these use cases, which is again why I was kind of digging into this, because I was like, wait, why would I use this over something else? Right.
Mhm.
And for real estate, where time is essential for output and small geographic area, ChatGPT is great at marketing content for
Mhm.
you. Gemini
It
is great
is.
at this market research, comps, ad copy, YouTube video stuff, things that are SEO related, things that Google is king at.
So this is a real world question. So I'm actively looking for a video editing company. I have a company right now that they want to charge me $1,800 a month to edit my videos, right? So I can get the videos done for probably $750, but I need thumbnails, I need, clips, I need, shorts, I need reels, I need long form, short form. Are you telling me Gemini can do a majority of that video editing? Or is it just specifically in these instances that we're talking about?
So my flow for that kind of stuff is I do the video, usually shoot it well in Descript. And then I take that video and put it into Opus Clip. It does all the little shorts and put the little tags and everything on it. And then the part that most people probably don't do is I take the little video description that it gives you, basically it's the transcript out of each one of those shorts. And I wrote a custom GPT that turns that into YouTube titles, YouTube descriptions, TikTok descriptions, TikTok with hashtags, with links to whatever I want. So I don't have to do any of the work. I just do a little editing, make it, and it's rather than taking hours.
It's just cut, paste, cut, paste, cut, paste, cut, paste. I mean,
yeah, a little bit of tweaking, right? So you go from where you used to have an army of people and do all these things, where you just it's reducing time to value, back to that piece. And I think what's really interesting is that we're talking about like legacy software platforms that are injecting AI into them today. The next iteration of the web and tech in general is going to be where the architecture is model to model to model to model to do things, rather than here's my code base that's designed to do this one thing. They're going to be models that are experts or better in certain things. And it's going to be passing data back and forth to have an outcome very quickly that's automated.
So back in the 1950s, in the 40s, they would have what they call a dance card. And the ladies would have a dance card, and the gentlemen would sign up to dance with the ladies, right? In a sequential order. Is this kind of like a dance card? Like you know where you stand in the pecking order, and you know what to do next. Like you know when your time is to step in and do the swing dance, or to do the foxtrot, or to do whatever else to get to the end goal, aka maybe a date, maybe a kiss, maybe a marriage, whatever in regards to business. But I mean, you're basically just putting together these different opportunities. So chat does one thing, Gemini does one thing. We're going to get to Gork in a second, but AWS is something we're going to talk about in a minute, but also Meta AI, we're going to talk about that at the very end. But is this kind of like putting everything together to make sense or is it can you use every one of them individually and get away with just kind of hacking life, or should you put them all together in a sequential order to make that dance happen?
And that's all based upon whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I think to your analogy, in the 1950s, like let's use a chessboard instead, right? I think it's simpler. Is that what we were doing is three-dimensional chess, right? It's where you can go up, down, and forward and backwards, right? In order to do these, because you have so many different things. What we've been doing, regular chess, is AI enablement, right? Where we're not playing a robot on the other side of a traditional chessboard. We're getting to three-dimensional chess, where each chessboard is better at something, and it's just passing it back and forth as it knows its benefits. Does that make sense?
It's so fascinating.
It is.
And it's almost like thinking of all your chess tools and like that this one does this, and this one can only go diagonal, and this one can only go,
Alyssa, it goes right back to how you always talk about putting your football team together, right?
Yeah.
With mortgage and credit. It sounds like it's almost the same kind of a thing, but in a different arena, right?
I've thought a lot about how the scoring models, when you think, I won't go in and bore you guys, but Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, you have these 3 credit bureaus. Well, then the 3 credit bureaus use either a FICO scoring model or they use the Vantage scoring model. If they use the FICO scoring model, it could be version 2, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 10T. So you got to know bureau model version every time a credit score comes in front of you. Most people can't grasp that, but then they'll jump on ChatGPT and save the world. And you're like, it's credit score, no. But that is it. It's I feel like there's like, in a different way, like the OpenAI relationship to ChatGPT kind of has this similar relationship to like the bureau model version I was just talking about. If that somebody out there is going to understand, I gotcha, girl, I gotcha. One,
no,
not one. No.
It takes complexity and simplify.
Yes.
Right? And that's what AI does well, is it ingests complex data all over the place and then gives you the result that you're looking for. And you don't have to learn how to do that complex thing.
Yeah.
It's already done for you. And so I think soft skills are becoming more in demand, and clarity of thought. Soft skills, clarity of thought, because you can only do well with ChatGPT or any of these language models if you have clarity of thought. We all know what we want it to do, but we're all scatterbrained as hell.
Right.
And so like we actually ask questions terribly. Most of us do.
Yeah.
And I know I'm part of that group. I've had to kind of rethink how you organize that clarity of thought and then have those soft skills with people, because everyone's kind of getting plugged into some machine somewhere. Right. So the real estate agent is great at soft skills. They just have to learn how to have that clarity of thought, which most probably aren't as good at.
So interesting you say the word soft skills, that phrase. I was listening to a Gary Vee interview this morning, and he was sitting down with a Fortune 50 CEO, and he said he got to be the CEO through soft skills. And that's empathy, that's relationships, that's consideration. That's not, I have a Harvard degree, I have an MIT degree. It's like Brad, how are you, brother? How you doing? Alyssa, how are your kids? How can I assist you? How can I connect you? What can I do to benefit you? What's your favorite? What's your perfect client look like? How can I build your business for you? Are you saying those are soft skills? Is that what you guys are saying?
Think of a doctor, right? I mean, to be a doctor, you have all that Harvard degree or whatever it is, but the way you rate that doctor is bedside manner, soft skills, right? And so a CEO is the same thing. You have to have a certain level of education and skill sets to do that job.
Right.
But then soft skills is what allows you to engage with other people to win.
Alyssa, how would you how would you put soft skills into the mortgage and real estate game? Give me like a 30-second burst on soft skills on how somebody could create or emulate soft skills if they have never done it before.
So the way I think about it is definitely the interpersonal skills, the ability to connect with another human being, the ability to constantly pivot. In the mortgage and real estate industry, you and I both know this because we've talked about this the last few days, that when business stops in one area and how you have to shift, or how you can suddenly get fired by a client that you were closing $1.5 million deal. And how do you not completely lose it and, go on a rage or whatever the case, but how do you stop and shift and say, you know what? It wasn't meant for me and the next one will be. And how do I keep going? And also, how do you relate to others? How do you fit into the bigger picture with other people? I just think all of those things are required, especially when you're ever going to be working with people. You have to be able to be, relatable, and they have to, I mean, gosh, you and I both know it's hard to trust anybody these days.
Right.
So how do you know if you can trust somebody? It's practically observation stuff. That's it.
Let me answer that for you.
Yeah.
Poop and pigs.
Okay.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
So I went on a listing appointment, and I brought my dog with me because Jackie was working that day. And so Rupert's in the car, right? And it's a $900,000 listing appointment. We go to the appointment, and I told the client, she's now a client of mine, Christine. And I said, look, I got my dog in the car. Is that cool? She's like, oh my God, get him out of the car. Like, let him run around. Now she has a potbelly pig. This thing is a giant fucking pig. I mean, and it grunts like it wants to eat your ankles for snacks. And it's walking around looking for snackies. Rupert's walking around with the pig. We're talking, she and I are talking about beer, whiskey, just random shit, right? And Rupert decides to walk over and takes a shit in this chick's backyard. Just drops hammer hardcore.
He's just like right there.
Squeezed ones off and looks back at me like, yeah, I did it. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Dying. Yeah.
So I get over there, and I of course I grab the poop naturally. And I carry this bag around with me throughout the rest of the listing appointment. My client's smoking cigarettes as we're walking around the property. And the point of the story is this, is that you don't have to have the biggest, best listing appointment or package or anything else. When you have the soft skills of having communication, opportunities, we talked about smoking cigarettes, drinking liquor, dogs, pigs. And here's the crux of this whole story. The soft skills of my conversation with her, she, in front of me, called her friend of 20 years, who's a real estate agent, and told him on speaker that she was not going to hire him and that she's going with another agent, me, in front of me. And I walked out of there going like, what in the shit just happened?
Yeah.
I didn't walk in with a listing presentation. I walked in with a baseball hat, a jacket, jeans, tennis shoes, a dog who pooped in their backyard. And I got the fucking listing appointment. I got the listing. That's the definition of soft skills in regards to connecting with people. Is that what you're saying, Brad? Like connections. Is that correct?
I think that's a great story on building trust. Absolutely. I think that a big piece of that, yes, in business, in context with large language models, it's clarity of thought and being able to ask questions, which usually requires soft skills, right? And especially if you're going to be working on a team. So that I'm saying soft skills will become more in demand, but today you need also very clear thought patterns and be able to ask questions.
True.
Otherwise it's crap in, crap out. And
right.
True.
I know that we've been on it for quite a while. So I wanted to show you just the difference between the three models that we've talked about. And I don't know, I came up with something stupid, but just because I wanted to make it like really, really simple, right?
Describe what you're looking at right now.
So I wanted to start without asking for anything like super detailed. So cool, fun rabbit on the moon.
What are you on right now? What system are you searching on?
I'm starting with ChatGPT-4.
Okay.
And I wrote, and I was thinking I wanted him walking and being cool and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to put any of that and see what happens. It's cool, fun rabbit on the moon made of cheese. Right. So you can probably come, it can go in 1,000 different directions, right? What you end up with on the first one is a pretty cool little bunny on a moon that looks like butter cheese, right? But that's actually pretty good. Now, the thing technically on this is that you only get one image, right? It takes a little bit of time to generate it, but it's pretty good. Now, to go over to to go over to Gemini next. I wrote that same exact prompt made of cheese, and do you see how it's much
It's all different, right? You get
much
4.
You
That's
get 4, so it's a 1 to 4, right? But none of them are really what we had in our mind. So I just added in photorealistic into that prompt, and now we get more what I was thinking. Still not great, but it's pretty good. But I get a couple options, and the turn time's much faster.
But the art is all about being specific and tweaking it as you go, right? Because sometimes it doesn't add on. Like if I said, I love it, keep the same mooms, same bunnies, same everything, just make the bunnies bow red. Unfortunately, I've noticed with like DALL-E on ChatGPT, it'll come back and it doesn't give me the same exact picture just with the bow tie red. It gives me a whole nother picture idea with a bow tie that's red. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't build off the last picture.
It is interesting. What I really want to do is I want to finish up this conversation. I want to step into Gork really quickly before we end our show, and then really talk about Meta AI, what's really kind of coming down the pipes. Because I think a lot of this folks, like Brad, you and I were talking in pre-show earlier today in regards to how to utilize these different sources to do different things in your business. Because we all think it's a one-stop shop with ChatGPT, but that's obviously not the case. Walk me through Gork a little bit, and then we'll go to AWS, and then we'll end up on Meta AI.
Sure.
So I'll share your screen right now. Walk us through what you're seeing.
So Gork is a large language model that Elon Musk is spending $350 million plus on GPUs and building a team and calling it X.AI. Gork is the name of the model. If you pay $16 a month, you get this little side icon that now appears on your phone or wherever else. And you get fun mode, regular mode, very Elon Musk style, right? What it's trained on is real estate, whatever's really the Twitter universe of stuff. So if you asked for, let's go back and pull in the one we were asking about the market, right? There you go. Let's actually do the first one for the comps. What it's going to do is it's going to rely on the Twitter universe for the response, which doesn't always give you what you want. So I'm going to go to the regular mode. Fun mode's like, if you want to kind of jam out, or maybe you want it to write tweets for you, like that's what it's got. It does that well, right? So if you're big into Twitter and that's what you're looking for, there's your jam, right? Now, if you want to go and like ask for things like a real estate professional would, it's going to give you different responses. So if it's in its database, it's behind the curve, so it's not as good. It's kind of where Gemini was 6 to 12 months ago, right? So the responses aren't great. It's going to kind of repeat itself. It's going to go off into hallucinations. It's going to do a lot of these things you don't want. But I wanted to test it. So there's a great example. It's a total hallucination, made up stuff that doesn't exist, right? Do you see that?
Yeah.
And it even gives you the tweet.
Yep, it does. It gives you tweets about things, but like these homes, like there's the same house, and then it just made up stuff. It's hallucinating. It's often never. It's total garbage.
Off. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Fuck balls.
So like that. That is the example. But then if you want it to write, maybe you wanted to write a cool tweet about. Let's go to fun mode.
That is bananas. Here's the thing. As it's searching, I mean, you can now obviously have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to take this off real quick. You can have a lot of fun with this, especially on fun mode, right? But there has to be some sort of level of discretion in regards to you being a human. These are tools. They're not absolutes. So the distinguishing difference is going to be your interpretation of your marketplace and how you want to be perceived. So use this as a basis point. I'm assuming that's how a lot of folks are going, but I also think the other 50% of folks are going like, oh my gosh, well, I can just do this and I don't have to ever think again in my life. When in reality, if you stop thinking, then that stops working because it works off your thinking.
Mhm.
They'll think
Exactly.
ahead of you.
Clarity of thought is a requirement.
Right.
The joke's been the new coding language 2023, now 2024 is the human language, right? That's
Right.
where this is going. And
Mhm.
that means that people need to get that right again. Get
Mhm.
clarity of thought, make sure that input's right. And so
Mhm.
the whole, I think that we can summarize out of Agoric is it's kind of cool. You get some analytics, but I've not found a useful purpose. It's not good enough yet. I think it will be. It's going to get great, just like Bard became Gemini, and now there's all these great use cases. If you do those same prompts into ChatGPT, current version for like listing, analysis or pulling comps, it's going to hallucinate. It won't be able to pull in the right stats. It makes stuff up,
Mhm.
right? I'm sure they're going to release, 5, and it's going to be close to AGI, which is kind of the holy grail of where like this thing is like a human now, but it's not there yet, right? Now where all of these need to improve is the senses, right? Now they can speak and talk, right? Now they can draw pictures.
Mhm.
Now they're starting to get smarter. Now they're making videos. What's next, right?
Gosh.
Touch, interaction, automation, task, all the other stuff that you do, it's not there yet. But you watch all the videos, man. Dynamics is getting darn close to making some pretty cool robots. I mean, Elon with his robot company that no one talks about, those freaking things are amazing too. So, I
Right.
mean,
It's
the
exciting
way that
stuff. Yeah.
it is. I mean, this is going to be the brain for whatever it embodies, and the robot will be like a finger, right, of the AI
Mhm.
once it's fully capable. It won't actually be the AI. It'll
Mhm.
just be the thing that executes whatever command the brain says to do.
Yeah.
That is so terrifying, but so interesting, all at the exact same moment. Okay, we're rolling up on the end of this really quickly. Let's jump over to Meta AI. Let's close this out in about the next 6 minutes.
Okay.
Walk me through Meta AI, kind of what your thought patterns are on that, because right now, ChatGTP sounds interesting. It sounds mainstream. Gemini sounds really freaking interesting. Like
Mhm.
There's a
really
lot of
freaking
use cases
interesting.
right now for Gemini with real estate because of the real-time data and access to the web, and it does a lot of that work for you, which is why I think the applications in real estate are the most interesting right
Right.
Mhm.
now,
Right.
It
right?
really is because the use cases that you pushed up right here on the show, I mean, the data came back remarkably better than Gork and better than Chat GPT. So I'd like to see what your thoughts are on the Meta AI.
Mhm.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is why don't we go and let's go back to the image picture because I think that's the easiest way to share this, right? So,
Okay, so everyone who's listening, walk us through what people are
okay,
not seeing.
so I'm starting on Gemini. I'm using the simple prompt is create an image.
So
Cool,
guys, we
fun,
went back to the
love it.
same cheese image that we were talking about before. And so that's where Brad is starting at this moment.
And I'm doing that just to show where Meta AI from the image standpoint is, because that says a lot about the underlying models. They're called Lambda, Lambda 1, Lambda 2, and so forth. They're open sourced, meaning that they give you the weights. Weights are how the model thinks, how it does what it does. It's trained on all the data that Facebook has. So think about that now, right? Kind of put that in
Mhm.
context that, like Gemini has gotten great at the Google universe, I believe that Lambda has the potential to do the same, just more with real time. Now, for real estate people, this is important. All the different interactions of humans and life events, because that triggers transactions and interactions, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
And so, just to show kind of where it is in its development phase, and they have one of the smartest data scientists leading the charge over there. So, I'm going to take that same prompt, and then you can do this is a free one you can also go to. It's
So what's
imagine.meta.com.
what's the prompt you're giving, just so
It's
everybody's clear?
it's cool, fun rabbit on the moon made of cheese.
Okay, good. So now we're moving this over to Meta, right? So
Yep.
explain this again, where they can go find this.
You can see
Imagine that.
imagine.meta.com. and it's free. Anyone can use it. It creates these great little images. It does do a little water print, but I started using these for different advertisements and whatnot because it's on Facebook. So Facebook probably likes these images better, right? That's the mindset like that we're trying that I think is happening here. Now, notice how without saying any, make it really beautiful, it kind of gave us this two-dimensional version. And now going back to Gemini, I added one line in it, which is make it photorealistic, right? So create a photorealistic image. Cool, fun rabbit on the moon made of cheese, right? So I'm going to copy that. That's all I added was those 2 words. And you get 4 images.
And this is all free.
And this is free. And boom, it's like that. So one thing about Meta,
that's much more real. Yeah.
super fast. It's super fast. Faster than any of the other ones. And it's pretty good.
Love it.
Stupid bunny.
Right now, the one thing about all of these models is that there is an element that's political here, which is ethnic diversity. If you write in family having fun at a park, you're not really going to get a white family almost ever.
You won't get a white family?
No. And it's kind of this built into most of these models. And now we can say, if you say a white family, it'll probably do a little bit better, but by default, it won't do that at all. Ever.
That's just racist.
That's crazy.
Call it whatever it is. It is what it is. There you go. So they actually did a pretty decent job.
That's not bad, actually.
Right?
So what you're saying is you have to be very specific in what you request, right?
Yes. And like for Gemini, when you go back to Gemini, you always want to say image of, right? And again, it knows, oh, I got to pull that modal over there. Now, if I do image of family having fun at the park, same thing. It's gonna bring back non-Caucasian family. So okay, not good or bad. It just is what it is. So yeah, it's a mixed racial Black Indian family, looks like.
Okay, but so they're going back to, I mean, the races are shifting. That's an understatement of the millennium.
Here or there. It's just one of those points that it's what it's trained on, right? So like the point I'm trying to make is not a political point or this or that. It's purely that, excuse me, that whatever you train a data set on, what any one of these models on, that's what you're going to get back out of it. So that going back to the beginning where we said, AI has a data problem. Real estate agents have a data problem. They need to be able to give enough data in order to train small language models, not large language models, that are good for their business. And on ChatGPT, starting there, and want to go through each one really quickly, kind of to tie the knot here, is that on ChatGPT, using custom instructions and custom GPTs, you can start to tell it, frame it, control, hey, this is who I am, this is my business, write more like this. But it doesn't have real-time data. But it's great at copy creation, repurposing, all these things. Gemini, you can't do custom instructions or custom GPTs, probably will sometime, but it has more real-time data in the Google universe. And so anything that's in kind of that touches that's a good place to start. Gork is catching up to all of them. I wouldn't really use it for anything besides having fun today or writing tweets. And Meta is training on all of the demographic interactions, like some of the most valuable stuff that people can have, and they have the most of it. And it is a really thick walled garden after the 2016 election.
Gosh.
So ChatGPT is it's backlogged because it doesn't have real world content. Gemini has real world content. Gork, it's a little clunky in my personal humble opinion, based upon what I'm seeing here. The Meta AI seems fascinating because it's already built into our social structure. You just go into Facebook and schmouse, and you can create anything you want. Thumbnails, you can create whatever you want. Am I misunderstanding this at any point?
No, but I think I do need to draw a clarification. When we've been talking about ChatGPT, we have not been talking about Copilot. To Alyssa's point at the beginning, right?
Okay, let's talk about that one.
That uses the same underlying model, right? So the brain is like kind of how it's trained up how to think about things.
Mhm.
The difference is Copilot does have access, similar to Google and Gemini's, to real-time data, right?
And ChatGPT, even though the data is up till 23 or whatever the case, but when you have a paid model, it's still going to be able to search the internet and search. I mean, I feel like I've been getting pretty accurate real-time information. I don't know. Maybe I don't know it. That's why.
No, you are, but they had to stop that, and then they restarted it. And the reason why they did that, access to the web, is because they had to give everyone, hey guys, put this stuff in your, it's called robots.txt on your website, saying, hey, don't crawl my site, don't bring that into OpenAI, because I don't want you to read my stuff.
Interesting.
Think of all the newspaper sites. I mean, they were like, no, that's our IP. Like, you can't train off of that and then give it away for free when we're charging a subscription for it.
Right.
So, apologize for all the coughing. Copilot, Microsoft made a huge investment in OpenAI, which built ChatGPT. They got a special version of it that they're using to build something similar to what Google Gemini is in Copilot and all the other kind of add-ons to the Microsoft products that you've been seeing coming out, right? To where it's in the spreadsheets, it's in your Word docs, it's in all these places. It's like a much better Clippy. Remember the old Clippy that was like kind of crappy?
Yeah.
And now it actually does all the stuff that it wanted it to do.
So let me ask you this. We're going to wrap up here in a second. We've talked about a lot of different AI products that are, it's a moving target. It's not going to ever stay stagnant, right? So as of this, February 21st of 2024, and people who are hearing this down the road, they're probably like, oh my God, you're so antiquated. This is such retarded shit. Oh my God, I don't know. You didn't know that. But at this moment, if you were an agent that goes, oh my gosh, this is very, very intimidating, where would you start and what would be your path? I mean, would you start with chat? Would you start with Gemini? Would you start with Gork? Would you start with Meta AI? Where would you go just to dip your toe in the water at a zero low-cost basis?
I'm going to say this way. Most of these, it's starting to be injected. So see if it's already in your CRM or a tool that your broker offers.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, ask, what powers it? Is it OpenAI? Is it something else? That'll kind of give you an idea how good it is. But that's always a variant of the underlying. So if you want to actually go to the source, go create a free account on ChatGPT. You don't even need to create a free account if you have Gmail.
Right.
Just type in Gemini and it'll bring you there.
Right.
And I'm going to do that in 5 seconds, actually.
Yeah. Those are it's like Gemini and Open ChatGPT, to get started, they're the same. Copilot.
You just got to get on there and start playing around. Yeah.
Yep. So like that's what I'm trying to say is that right now there's this delineation between them, but I think that shortly there's going to be this convergence to where only the data that they won't allow the other models to train off of, which you're starting to see, right? With this, hey, that's my IP, that's your IP. Like, oh, you can't do that. That's when we're going to start seeing these really sophisticated, siloed models that are great at X or Y, because that's what it knows. That's all it knows.
Okay. So it's like everyone's playing their own sandbox.
Sandbox. Right? Oh, that's a good way to say it.
Okay. So let's do this, guys. Obviously, we can't get through everything. Brad has broken it down extremely well. Brad, where can people get a hold of you and dive deeper with you in regards to this stuff? And do you have any products coming up, any speaking engagements, any kind of thing you want to promote or talk about at all, or you just kind of keep it close to your chest and kind of come back on the show a little bit later when you know a little bit more about what's going on?
Yeah, if you want to kind of follow all of this, Greg, I'll give you a link that you can put in the show notes. But I mean, check out Likely AI's YouTube channel or our Facebook group, one of our social channels. I've been doing more stuff on YouTube and TikTok and whatnot, just to kind of get the content out in the cleanest form. Go subscribe, watch, it's free.
And it's Likely, LIKELY.com.
Likely.ai. .com.
Likely.ai. That yes.
Yeah, but I think it's the same on YouTube. It's Likely AI is our YouTube channel name. So I would say go check one of those out. I mean, subscribe to it if you want to learn. And I'm starting to try to take, Greg, because your point's right. Is I think everyone's doing this. So I'm starting to okay, well, what's interesting to me today? I should talk about that, right? And doing some, a morning little thing, letting the sequence that we talked about earlier go through, and then publish something, because everyone seems to watch all that stuff at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, right?
Yeah.
And so that would be the best way if you want to continue to kind of digest in more bite-sized pieces rather than an hour and a half and have your brain going, what the hell did I just hear? Mm-hmm. If you want kind of more snippets, that would be a great way to do it. Okay. And always go to Likely.ai and subscribe and join. We have a great products there, but I'm not here to pitch and sell. I'm here to talk about what my passion is, which is this.
Well, I mean, I think what you've laid down for us is more than adequate in regards to content. Because, I mean, in all honesty, guys, I've been taking notes like a madman. When I look down, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to my brother. I'm actually taking notes on this shit, going like, what the hell did you say? I think that it would be advantageous for you guys to have a conversation with him and his staff and kind of see where this goes. So do that. Alyssa Glutz, Miss Color My Credit. How can people follow you and get in your realm? How do they get more of your goodness?
Okay, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 11 to noon Arizona time, I do live TikTok. I think we just passed our 700th hour that I've done a live on there. So it just answer questions and stuff. So you can bring anything there and ask me regarding how to get your credit score up, how to be pre-approved for a house, how to close on the house, all the way through the process. That's me.
That's awesome.
Color My Credit.
Color My Credit. That's your TikTok channel?
That's my channel. That's if you just Google Color My Credit, you'll find my book, you'll find my channel, the whole method, everything. And I do consultations with people, but I'm also a full-time, mortgage lender. And
one of the best lenders I've ever come across. She's worked with a lot of my clients. Absolutely freaking knock out of the park. Awesomeness. Awesome. Get her book, follow her. Her content on TikTok is invaluable when it comes to building your credit, talking to your clients. She has snippets, she has long form, short form. She's quirky. I'm quirky. It works very, very well. So if you like humor and knowledge, go follow her on all of her different platforms. Guys, I want to thank you for watching the show. Share this video, share this podcast. It really helps us if you guys give us a like and a share, follow us. It really, really helps the channel. We appreciate all of you. Brad, I want to first off say thank you very much for coming on the show. You knock out of the park every single time you're on the show. Alyssa, you are a stunning stack of awesomeness. That's why you're my co-host on this. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to be very clear to you right now. When you hear my voice or you're looking at my face, we cannot do this show without you. I am so grateful for you. I'm so thankful for you. And I cannot tell you how much we want to give back to you and keep rocking it out. So in 2024 and beyond, I want to just keep telling you guys, you're amazing. You're awesome. You're more powerful than you can possibly freaking imagine. Take this knowledge, put it into action, build a business, put money in your pocket, be the most incredible human being you can possibly be. And if we play a fraction of that in your life, we are grateful until the end of time. So
Greg is that grateful because he combed his beard for this.
I did actually.
Now, if he took off his hat, I don't think the same thing about his hair. But hey, we're halfway there.
Hey, man, at least I got half my head done. All right, guys. With that in tow, thank you so much. We love you to pieces. Until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.